the main problem is, yes, we are all pro law enforcement in this group, but that doesn't give law enforcement the right to lie and mislead the public about legislation and laws and what the public's rights are. Like, they try and do that stuff during interrogations. Like, I've seen it on videos where they mislead people, tell them what their rights are, tell them what they can and can't do, ignore them when they request lawyers and stuff. There are a small percentage of police officers who do that, but this is the official Facebook post of the elected sheriff for the department, basically out and right lying to the public about what the law says. You're right, Cindy. There is absolutely nothing in that legislation that requires law enforcement to ask you any questions about your gun or your carrying or your constitutional rights, or there's nothing in there that says that. You know, the first part is like, if you're stopped, please calmly explain to the police officer that you have a gun. That's a request, but the legal thing is you don't have to. We have no duty to inform in Florida. There's some people that like to do that, that say, I've always told people that, I think it's polite, et cetera, et cetera. That's fine. Then there's other people that are like, I'm not telling them shit unless I have to under the law. And then there's people that kind of fall in the middle, depends on the scenario, the situation, the officer, et cetera, et cetera. But there's no requirement to tell them anything. So here they are. They're at least not misleading you and telling you you have to, but they're basically trying to mislead you by saying, please do this, which would give a normal person out there, I think, a good faith belief that they probably have to. And then it says they're required to ask you questions. They're not required to ask you any questions, and you're not required to answer any questions. You don't have to tell them whether you have a gun in your car or carrying a gun or not carrying a gun. So, and then of course they try and say, oh, we're doing it for to ensure that such carry is consistent with current legislation. But again, you're right. Like, if that's the case, then they should just stop everybody walking down the street and say, are you carrying? Let me see your license. Let me make sure you're legal, because I have a responsibility to make sure you're carrying it correctly. Well, you can't do that without reasonable suspicion of a crime or probable cause for an arrest or detention.